what the black man and woman needs to know about the nation, about the world, about themselves. Muhammad Speaks It. To order your 12-issue subscription to Muhammad Speaks newspaper, 313-371-7033. 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie is the grand champion of all bean pies. The rich flavor and smooth texture takes this pie to a whole new level of delicious. One bite and you'll understand why people all over the country call daily to order Kareem Bean Pie. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033. Kareem Bean Pie.
This bean pie is delicious.
Muhammad Speaks presents Messenger Elijah Muhammad's Teachings by Minister Khalil Shabazz every Sunday from 2 to 3 p.m. at Muhammad's Temple of Islam, 12609 East McNichols Road in Detroit.
Brothers and sisters, rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent and Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent and Merciful, Soul Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live, the alone that we serve and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path, path of those upon whom thou spell thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none deserve to be served, worship, or praised besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is our true servant and last apostle. Ameen. We'd like to acknowledge the brothers and sisters that extended us the greetings of Assalamu Alaikum. We have Brother Captain Hakeem and the believers from Richmond. I'd like to say in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his last and greatest messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'd like to greet the brothers and sisters with the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu Alaikum. Today we'd like to talk about Islam is older than the Jews and Israelites. I left my main picture at the house. But last week on the 26th, Bus Stop Bishop them made a video with a Muslim. What happened was they had the title of their video is called Black Muslim Don't Believe That the Arabs Had Him in Slavery or something like that. So it was this brother who was in the nation. You could tell he was new or he hasn't been in the nation that long. So the brother was waiting on his father to pick him up. That's what he was saying. He was telling them, you know, I'm just waiting on my father to pick me up. And he wasn't even really confrontational. He just like, okay, yeah. So the Israelites trying to tell this brother that, you know, we learn Islam from the Arabs. And I know Farrakhan is not going to defend this brother at all, because he never do. So we gonna defend Islam. Because what does it look like to the lost found? If they continue to see all of these videos, some of them with Muslims, and they don't see a response. So we want to ask Bus Stop Bishop and IUIC, because we want to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Islam is older than the Jews and the Israelites. So we want to start with the October 18th, 1958 Pittsburgh carry. And we want to start with two questions that the messenger asked the Christian preacher. Because we can use the same teachings that the messenger used in the 50s, we can use it in 2024. So this was the it was actually 8 questions. that the messenger asked the preachers. But we just gonna pull out two. The messenger. He said, did God give Adam a religion or religious guides and rules how to serve and obey him? That's question number one. Because the Jews and the Christians in the Bible like to start with what they call the law of Moses. They always use Israelite or Jew names for these laws to connect you to them. Because it's not the law of Moses. It's the laws of God. Yes. But to keep you focused on a Jew, they say the law of Moses. So the messenger asked a very simple question. Did God give Adam a religion? Did he give him religious guides, religious rules on how Allah wanted Adam to serve and obey him? Then he asks another question. He says, when and by whom did Adam receive religious teachings? What was it called? Those are two very simple questions that we want to ask bus stop. Because when we turn to the Bible is a book that was written by the white man to hide the truth from the black man. So on one end, they try to make us think God didn't give laws until the law of Moses. But when you turn to Psalms, when you listen to David, David says, thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. What does it mean when you say everlasting? Everlasting means lasting or enduring through all time. That's very important for us to know. God's righteousness or Allah's righteousness is everlasting. Everlasting means endures or lasting through all time. When we're talking about all time, we have divisions of time. You have the past, you have the present, and you have the future. So Allah's laws and his righteousness goes both ways, everlasting. Yes, sir. So as far as you can go in the past, everlasting. As far as you can go in the future, everlasting. And in the present. So if God's righteousness was everlasting, what was his laws and rules he gave to Adam? How did he tell Adam to serve and obey him? If he tells that to us as Muslims, God or Allah don't tell us just to pray. He tells us how many times to pray. He tells us what time to pray. He tells us to do ablution. Why did he do that to Adam? And if he did do that to Adam, what was the religious teachings called? Because it had to have had a name. Because names distinguish Allah's name for his religion. Distinguishes it from the wrong religion. That's why it has to have a name. When Allah revealed the scriptures to Moses, he gave the book a name. He called it the Torah. When Allah revealed the scriptures to Jesus, he called it the gospel. When Allah revealed the scriptures to Muhammad, he called it the Quran. To distinguish God's book from other books. So what did God teach Adam? What was his religion? What was his rules? His guidelines? How did Allah want Adam to serve him? Not a very important question that we must ask after that. How old is Adam? That's another very important point. Because these are open-end questions that we gonna give an answer to at the end. But you pretty sure can understand where we go. Because when you talk about Christianity, Christianity is not an everlasting religion. Because it got the name of Jesus on it. They call it Christianity after Christ. Judaism is not an everlasting religion. It got the name of Judah on it. That's why they call it Judaism, Buddhism, Confucianism. All of these are religions that got somebody's name on. So these religions cannot be said to be everlasting. But Islam is a religion that has nobody's name on. Islam is an action word. To be a Muslim is an action. Islam means entire submission to the will of Allah. That is an everlasting religion. It has nobody's name on it. It don't have no time stamp. It's an action word. It's the action of everything in creation. But let's go on with how old is Adam. Because one of the most important things we got to say when we talking about the age of Adam, we got to say before the messenger and after the messenger. We can't just say how old is Adam. Because after the messenger, everybody updated their doctrine based on what he taught. So we gonna say how old is Adam before the messenger. First, let's start with the Jew. How old did the Jew say Adam was? This comes from Shabazz.org. This is called Holidays 2024. This is the Jewish New Year called Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah happened in 2024. It's going to be October 2nd, 2024 to October 4th, 2024. What is Rosh Hashanah? Rosh Hashanah is the birthday of the universe. The day God created Adam and Eve, and it's celebrated as the Jewish New Year. It begins at sundown on the eve of whatever, October 2nd, 2024, and ends after nightfall on October 4th, 2024. So every year, the Jews celebrate the Jewish New Year. And they believe that it's the birthday of the universe. And when Adam and Eve was created. To get the actual number of the year, you look up the Hebrew year. Currently, the Hebrew year is 5,784. This is how old they believe Adam and Eve is. 5,784 years. This the Jew. Then you got the Christian. It says, how old is the world according to James Ussher? James Ussher was a Christian bishop. Just like Bus Stop Bishop is a bishop, James Ussher was a bishop. He was a Christian bishop. It says Usher was an archbishop and a professor at Trinity College in Dublin. Using clues from the Bible, he decided that the earth was born on today's date, in 4000 BC. That would make Earth 6,026 years old. And that would have been October 12, 2022. So even James Usher believed, based on the Bible, that the earth and Adam and Eve is 6,000 years old. We got to remember that. Before the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, everybody believed, based on the Bible, that the earth and Adam and Eve was only 6,000 years old. Let's go even further than that. Now we're going to go to science. Before the message, science believed this was the evolution of man. Everybody started out as a monkey. Then we slowly evolved to the white man. This is because niggas like Bus Stop be talking like you always knew that the black man is the original man. That's why we always got to start with the history of the message. We got to put it all in perspective. Because in today's world, in 2024, everybody updated their belief based on what the messenger taught. When the messenger was teaching what he was teaching that the black man is the original man, the first man on earth, he was looked at as crazy. Black people laughing at him, dogging him out. But let's go further to show what I'm talking about. But this was science. Science believed that the evolution of man was first a monkey. Then they didn't even say we evolved to the black man. We evolved to a white man. Bus Stop Bishop and them Jews didn't argue with them. That's what they say. That's what it is. So let's go to when it all changed. Let's go to the May 8th, 1964, Muhammad speaks. This white man right here is a very important white man for us to know. His name is Dr. Louis S.B. Lee. Remember him. He was the white man who discovered fossils in Africa. He was the white man who discovered that the oldest bones on earth was in Africa. So there was an exclusive interview of this devil in the 1964 Muhammad Speaks. Then the next year, he was in the Chicago Tribune. He was in the Chicago Tribune June 6, 1965. Now you might think, what does all this have to do with Islam being older than the Jews? You got to first see who are the first people. Because the Holy Quran teaches us that Islam is the nature that Allah created man. So we can't just be looking for a religion. We got to look for the first man. We got to know who was the first man and what was his religion. That's how you know what religion was first. You can't start with Abraham. You can't start with Adam. You can't start with Judah. You have to start with the first man and find out what was his religion. So in the title of the article, it says, after the Africans came the cave dwellers. It says history of man's origin must now be rewritten. All praise is due to Allah. Now in the box, it got a little footnote. It says the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Messenger of Allah, has long advanced the concept that black mankind was indeed the original of the human race, all others being derived thereafter. This divine insight, promulgated by Mr. Muhammad for more than 30 years, has suddenly sprung into scientific prominence, with the startling discoveries being made by anthropologists, which call for a new look and drastic revision of traditional accepted concepts of the origin and age of mankind. This the message. The last and greatest messenger of Allah. That's why it's so important for us to start with his history. Because if we just start with the Jews, they make it seem like they always believed that the black man was the first man. But that ain't the case. The white man plus all black people believe that Adam was only 6,000 years old, Adam and the book, and they believe that Adam was the first man. But when Dr. Lewis S.B. Leakey found them bones, he said the history has to be rewritten. He didn't get an exclusive interview with the black Jew. He didn't get an exclusive interview with the Christian. He got an exclusive interview with the messenger. Because the messenger said that he challenged the world of science. He wasn't challenging like Bus Stop Bishop and them do the brothers on the sidewalk. The messenger say, I challenge the world of science. Yes. So as the messenger challenged the world of science, he kept his eye on the science world to see how the science world was changing based on what he taught. Right. So the messenger had been teaching since 1931 that the black man is the original man. He teaching it and he looking at the science world. Reading the newspapers. Looking at the science stuff. Looking to see how it's gradually changing towards what he taught. So in 1960s, Mr. Leakey found these bones. And all of the white scientists realized the whole history of man has to be rewritten. Now let's go on with the article. It says the scientific world is still reeling from the impact of the Leakey discoveries. That thinking, planning, building men and women existed nearly 2 million years ago in Africa, at a date stretching far beyond any previous discovery. This is the messenger. He said thinking, planning, and building men and women. Right. See, the messenger had to keep it going. Because even though the white man found these bones, he's still going to interpret like these was still just some niggas, though. They not going to make you think they was intelligent. They was some primitive niggas. So the messenger has to continue to thinking, planning, and building men and women. Right. The black man built the greatest civilizations on earth. Yes. Was built by the black man. So the messenger keeps reminding us that the black man is God. He is the original man. He is the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, and the God of the universe. But now that this information is just getting into the eyes of the black man, you gotta give the babies milk. So you ain't gonna say, oh, the black man, and no. Remember, black man, they were thinking, planning, and building men and women. Just remember that. It says in an exclusive interview with Muhammad Speaks, Dr. Louis S.B. Leakey, the African-born British anthropologist who discovered the remains of mankind, which he has named Homo habilis, stated emphatically that the best of scientific knowledge points to the fact that Africa is the birthplace of mankind, and that the entire history of mankind's origin and development must now be rewritten in light of this truth. He says more than half of the anthropologists to whom I have shown my findings agree with me, Leakey said. The definition of homo will have to be revised, and the textbook, including one I published last October, must be rewritten. This the messenger.
Yes, sir.
He had been teaching us this since the 30s. Everybody had to go back and change what they was talking about. But the messenger. The scientists had to change.
Yes.
Martin Luther King had to change. Jesse Jackson had to change. Jesse Jackson, at the messenger's funeral, he said he was black while the rest of us was Negroes. The messenger was black.
Yes.
So all of them had to change what they were talking about.
Yes.
But the messenger of Allah still saying the same thing.
Right.
The scientists had to change. The doctors had to change. The doctors used to say we could eat 3 meals a day. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Eat all the hog you want to eat. Now they got to change.
Right.
They ain't giving credit to the messenger, but they had to change. They call it intermittent fast.
That's what they call it.
They just like niggas like bus stop.
Yes.
You ain't gonna say you got it from the messenger. So a nigga like bus stop, he gonna say, the Bible say that God created Adam from the dust of the ground. What color is the dust of the ground? It's brown. He don't even say it's black. He say it's brown. So he say that's showing us that the first man was black. Just like the white man, the white scientist, the white doctor. You still got it wrong. Leakey still had it wrong. The black man didn't start out in Africa. Them just the oldest bones you find.
Right.
Messenger said you can dig all you want to dig. He said the black man has no birth record. So Leakey still was wrong. But Leakey obeyed. The white doctor today, still wrong. He talking about intermittent fast. You should fast at least 8 hours a day. He getting closer, but he's still wrong.
Yes, sir.
Bus stop Bishop, this nigga, he wrong. When the Bible is talking about dust, there's a difference between dust and soil.
Yes.
You plant vegetation in soil.
Right.
You sweep dust up and throw it away. The messenger said dust is a scientific term. He said they used the word dust to indicate that they came from the weaker part of the black man.
That's it. Yes, sir.
So this lying nigga bus stop. You still wrong, nigga. You still wrong. But you a bank. You a thief. But you're still wrong. So it goes on to say, it says the Homo habilis specimen found by Dr. Leakey and his wife Mary include remains of an 11-year-old child, an elderly woman, and a young one. They estimate that the group lived within a million-year span in what was then the wet tropical region and now is a desert, except during the rainy spells. So they realizing all of this. They found the bones of an 11-year-old girl, an elderly woman, and a young one. They can tell that wherever they was living, it was a wet climate. But now it's a desert. That shows you how many the messenger talks about cycles and renewals.
Enjoying the show? Help keep us on the air. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033 to make a donation.
1 minute this place could be vast vegetation. Next thousands of years it could be a desert. The messenger said, America is what is called the lake of fire. He said it will burn for 390 years. He said it would take 610 years to cool off. So whoever gonna be born at that time gonna see America as a fire for like 1,000 years. But in our time, this cities and states. That's the black man.
Yes, sir.
We make civilizations on top of civilizations.
That's right.
So it goes on to say, it says the importance of a home building man at so early a period, at least 1 million years earlier than our previous findings, lifts man's age millions of years beyond our present thinking, Leakey said. So when Leakey found these bones, they realized that the black man is millions of years older than they previously thought. So let's go to the Chicago Tribune, because this is the white world interviewing Leakey. Very interesting art. It says old graves. It says recent anthropological discoveries have produced a knowledge explosion and reappraisal of man's evolution into a creation called Homo sapiens. Now, for the white man's world, the basic knowledge that the messenger gives us caused them to have a knowledge explosion. We don't even think about that. We be so busy in our generation to push the messenger to the side that we don't even realize everything about his history spells messenger of Allah.
Yes.
He was teaching this to the blind, deaf, and the dumb.
Yes.
Because I hate when I hear people talk about the messenger. They say, well, when he came in Detroit, Master Farad Muhammad went to the ignorant, went to the low class, as if he was deceiving us, because the black man was ignorant. And since he came with this religion making them feel like they were so special, that's why he was able to trick so many black people. But when you look at this simple, basic knowledge that the messenger gave us, when it hit the white man's world, the white doctors, the white scientists, it caused a knowledge explosion.
Yes, sir.
Let's go on with the article. It says the new evidence is being found in many parts of the world, but especially in the Olduvai Gorge in North Tanzania, where Dr. Louis S.B. Leakey and his wife, Mary, noted British anthropologists, have made discoveries that upset many long-held theories about evolution. Because of this explosion of knowledge, the University of Chicago recently convened 300 anthropologists, archaeologists, paleontologists, biologists, geneticists, anatomists, geochronologists, and other scientists, including Leakey, for an extraordinary symposium on the origin of man. Collectively, those who attend the conference know most of what is known about the subject and most of the present hypotheses about things they don't know. Look at all them scientists that's getting together from the basic teachings the messenger taught us. We in the Nation of Islam get our student enrollment. We take it for granted. This hypocrite Lewis got to add Scientology on top of what the messenger done already gave us all of this supreme wisdom.
Yes.
In our student enrollment, first question, who is the original man?
Yes, sir.
The original man is the Asiatic black man,
Yes, sir.
the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, and the God of the universe. That's Nation of Islam 101.
Yes, sir.
We learned that coming out the gate.
Right.
You in processing class.
That's right.
You learning who the original man. Then you learning who the colored man. Then you learning how many original nation is in America. How many color. How much of the producing land does the original man use? How much of the producing land do the colored man use? What is the birth record of the said Nation of Islam? The said Nation of Islam has no birth record. It has no beginning and no end. Then he says, what is the birth record of said others than Islam? He said Christianity is 551 years old. Buddhism is 35,000 years old. Right out the gate. Right out the gate we learn. Christianity is only a religion that's 551 years old. You might say, how is Christianity only 551 years old when Jesus is 2,000 years ago? You got to know the breakdown. The messenger said, God taught Moses Islam. Then he said a white man came, added paganism to Islam and called it Judaism. Then he said another white man came, added more paganism to Islam and called it Catholicism. He said another white man came, added more paganism to Islam and called it Christianity. Catholicism comes before Christianity. We never think about that. The Pope, the messenger said, he run Christianity, not the Creflo Dollar and them. It's the Pope of Rome.
Right.
They the ones who run Christianity. The Pope. Because it's Judaism, Catholicism, then it's Christianity. We learn this out the gate. When we come in the door, we learn that the black man, he ain't just a black man. He the Asiatic black man. Messenger taught us that the whole planet Earth was called Asia.
That's right.
The whole Earth. He didn't say that the black man was made or created on the earth. He said the black man created the earth as a home for himself.
That's right.
That's what the black man did. That's why when you see on the messenger's face, he is wearing the sun, moon, and the star.
Yes.
The only people who can wear that is the black man.
Yes.
Because the whole universe belongs to us. This is why the messenger said, you will never find the black man's beginning on earth. The black man before the earth. He created the earth himself as a home.
Yes.
That's why he taught us that Islam or the planet Earth is the home of Islam. The earth is the home of Islam. Islam is the nature of the black man.
Yes.
The messenger said the black man is Islam himself. We have a nature to submit to the will of Allah. So when Allah, the messenger, said, created himself from the triple darkness of the universe, after he created himself in the nature of Islam, that's how he created all his creation. Everything in the universe submits to the will of Allah but the white man. Allah, or the first God, the God of righteousness, did not make the white man. Yaqub, the God of evil, is the one who made the white man. Yaqub made the white man 6,000 years ago.
That's right.
Let's go on even further. We don't want to miss a point. Now let's go to the July 28th, 1956 Pittsburgh carry. Because I always want to come at bus stop. I know a lot of people might think, why I don't be talking about Trump? Why I don't be talking about politics? Why I don't be talking about nothing other than bus stop? Because I was in the military. You got several different lines of defense. You got those who fight under the water. They would be in submarines. You got those who fight on top of the water. That's the Navy. You got the ones who fight on the ground. That's the Marine Corps and the Army. And you got those who fight in the air, and that's the Air Force. Everybody got their strategic plan they got to fight the enemy. Then when you have them ground troops, which is the Marine Corps and the Army, they still break them down. The one I want to talk about today is the snipers. Because the snipers get you one at a time. There was this sniper. Now, this was my favorite history we was taught in the military. He said during Vietnam, they debriefed him. He had an enemy that he had to go get by himself as a sniper. But they said you can't walk and get it. We can't fly you in a helicopter. You can't ride in a Jeep. You're going to have to crawl on your belly for several miles. So him being a soldier, he crawled on his belly for miles. He talked about how that took weeks. Because if he was to stand up, the enemy would see him and it would give off his location. So he had to be in Vietnam crawling by himself for weeks on his belly. So he said after he got there, he couldn't just shoot him. Because if he shot him once again, it would give off his location. So he had to sit and wait. Sometimes he had a clear shot, but it was other people around. So he had to wait. Waiting days. Got a shot, but it's too many people around, so I gotta wait. Finally, he shot. I can't get up and walk away. I can't run away. I can't call the helicopter. I can't call the Jeep. Now I gotta turn around, get back on my belly, and crawl away. More weeks. But that's a soldier. You got to have that kind of people with that kind of focus on the enemy.
That's right.
All I see is him. All I see is that nigga. Against the mess. I don't see Trump. Somebody else see Trump. Somebody else talk about this and talk. I'm talking about this nigga bus stop. I got my scope on this nigga. I got him locked in. They used to tell us you in the world's greatest navy. The world's greatest Marine Corps. We in the world's greatest nation. We got the world's greatest God with the last and greatest messenger. So the messenger needs soldiers who got focus.
That's right.
Who gonna key in on his enemy.
Yes.
I don't see nobody but bus stop.
All praises be to Allah.
Just to give it to you straight. So let's start with the messenger. July 28th, 1956, Pittsburgh Carrier. It says, who is the original man? This was the question the messenger asked the black man long before Lee. Long before lying niggas like Bus Stop. Long before Black Power. Long before the Panthers. Long before all that. The messenger just asking us simple questions. Who is the original man? Then the messenger says, he says the above question is now answered from the mouth of Allah, God, to us, the so-called Negroes, for the first time since our strain away from our own nation. That's very important. The messenger didn't just say, I'm teaching y'all who the original man. No, he said it's come from the mouth of Allah.
Right.
So if we a soldier in Muhammad's army, the messenger told us and proved to us that the knowledge that he teach comes from God's mouth. How will we let Bus Stop be trying to tell the black man who the original man is? Trying to tell the black man who the first man is. When the messenger said, Allah taught me this. This comes from his mouth. For the first time since we strayed away from our nation. This ain't the third time, the fifth time. This is the first time. And Allah came to you. Because Allah came seeking to save that which is lost.
Yes, sir.
So Allah, Master Farad Muhammad, came to the lost sheep, came to the deaf, dumb, and blind, with a knowledge that 30 years later will start a knowledge explosion
Yes, sir.
to the white man.
Read that.
So the messenger goes on. He says, this secret of God and the devil has been a mystery to the average one of mankind, to be revealed in all its clearness to one who was ignorant, so ignorant that he knew not even himself, born blind, deaf, and dumb in the wilderness of North America. All praise is due to the great Mahdi, Allah in person, who was to come and has come, the sole master of the words. I ask myself at times, what can I do to repay Allah, the great Mahdi, Farad Muhammad, for his coming, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding? That's the messenger,
Yes.
pouring his heart out to his God. He said this knowledge comes straight from the mouth of God, straight to the deaf, dumb, and blind, for the first time. And I asked myself, how could I ever repay Allah for his coming, for his wisdom, for his knowledge, and for his understanding? I was born deaf, dumb, and blind in this wilderness. What can I do to repay him for his wisdom?
Yes, sir.
This the message. He didn't just start teaching us the black. He poured his heart out to his God.
Yes.
That's how we supposed to be.
That's right.
This God knowledge.
Yes.
This ain't for everybody to just play with.
Right.
This comes from the mouth of God.
Yes.
Let's go on even further. He said, born in the southern part of this wilderness of sin, where the man of sin has almost manifested himself to us, the so-called Negroes, that he was really the evil one by the way he treated us. Yet we were made so dumb that we still couldn't recognize him. The truth of him is now being told and taught throughout the world to his anger and sorrow. He is losing no time trying to hinder this truth of the above question. Who is the original man? Then the messenger goes on. He says the original man Allah has declared is none other than the black man, the first and last, maker and owner of the universe. From him came all, brown, yellow, red, and white. This was the messenger. He said the black man is the original man, maker of the universe. Niggas like Bus Stop thought that was fun. They laughing at the message because the white man hadn't co-signed it yet. The white man was still digging for bones. He hadn't found them bones in Africa yet. So niggas like Bus Stop didn't have no truth to challenge the white man. So everything the white man taught, they just made it black. That's all they could do. That's why Bus Stop can't break down nothing now. He just goes straight to the verse. That's how you know Bus Stop and them really don't want to smoke with the Nation of Islam. Everything the messenger taught us, he explained it to us. Yes. He didn't just go to the verse and say, look, right here, this say this mean that. No, he explained it to us. Just like he explaining this to us in Who is the Original Man. Yes. He explained it to us how grateful he is for the coming of Allah. Yes. He didn't just explain to us about, I'm explaining to you how dumb I was. Because he recognized God when we didn't. He recognized this knowledge explosion. He recognized that in the thirst. So when he presented this truth to us, he said you got to give it to the babies. Give them milk. So he gave us milk. He slowly taught us about the knowledge of God. This don't come from me. This come from his mouth. You might look at me like I'm so wise, but I'm telling you what he told me. I don't even know how I can repay him because I also was born blind, deaf, and dumb. Yes. But from the mouth of Allah, the black man is the original man, maker and owner of the universe. Yes, so the messenger went on to say, he says we have an unending past history of the black nation and a limited one of the white race. This the messenger. He said we have an unending past history, but the white man has a limited one. Let's go on in further. He says we find that history teaches that the earth was populated by the black nation ever since it was created. But the history of the white race doesn't take us beyond 6,000 years. This the message. So when them white Jews is celebrating the Jewish New Year, that's what they should do. When they celebrating the Sabbath was made for them. All of this is their history. Because the messenger said that you can't go back with the white man's history past 6,000 years. So they don't know nothing before that. All they know, the messenger said they wasn't even making no history in them 2,000 years in the cave. Right. They wasn't making no history. Only history they know about the caves is what Moses taught them. Right. They lost all knowledge of themselves. They don't know nothing past that. So the messenger is the one who taught the deaf, dumb, and blind black man that the white man's history don't go past 6,000 years. Right. He said everywhere the white race have gone on our planet, he either found the original man or a sign that he had been there previously. Allah has proven to the world of black man that the white race actually doesn't even own any part of our planet. This the messenger.
Yes, sir.
He said everywhere the white man has gone. Now mind you, Leakey going all over the world digging up these bones. This long before he find that stuff in Africa. But the messenger said before the scientists bearing witness, everywhere this devil go, he even see that the black man is there, or he sees signs that we was there previous. Where was niggas like Bus Stop? Where was all these people that got so much to say today? Let's go on with the message. He says in the Bible, referring to their creation, we have us in Genesis 1:26, creating or rather making the race, the us and we, you show beyond a shadow of a doubt that they came from another people.
Yes.
So this the messenger even breaking it down more.
Yes, sir.
When you go to the Bible, the white man wrote the Bible to hide the truth from the black man. That's why Bus Stop can't figure it out. He still thinks that Adam is the first man. But Adam is a new man. Adam is a made man.
Yes.
The messenger taught us we are the original man.
Yes.
You can't make an original man. The made man comes from the original man.
Yes.
In Genesis, it says, let us make man
Yes, sir.
in our image and after our likeness.
Yes.
So Adam could not be an original man.
Right.
The us is the original man.
Teach, brother minister.
Enjoying the show? Help keep us on the air. 313-371-7033. That's 313-371-7033 to make a donation.
So let's go on even further with the message. I want to show how many that the messenger had ministers who was teaching too. This comes from the St. Louis Argus, October 17, 1958. It's called Muslims Say We Are a Nation of Blacks. It says, who is the original man? It's the question posed by Minister Clyde X, one of the brilliant Muslims in the Nation of Islam, under the leadership of Messenger Elijah Muhammad, Messenger of Allah. Speaking to a crowd of Muslims and non-Muslims at 4831 St. Louis Avenue, Minister Clyde X asked this question, who is the original man? The question, who is the original man, is being answered from the mouth of Allah God to us, the so-called Negroes, for the first time since our straying away from our own nation. Now you can see he's saying the same thing in this that the messenger said in 56. The messenger says, the above question is now answered from the mouth of Allah God to us, the so-called Negroes, for the first time since our straying away from our own nation. That's what he said. This was 58, this was 56. It's showing you it was more than Malcolm X. Everybody was saying what the messenger taught.
Right.
Down Elijah Muhammad taught us that the knowledge of the original man comes from the mouth of Allah.
Yeah.
For the first time since our straying away from our nation. Now let's go to the Times and Democratic, November 15, 1959. It says, Washington Negro cult preaches on segregation. It says the original man is the Asiatic black man, the owner and maker, cream of the planet Earth. The colored man is the so-called white man, or Caucasian, the greatest shame of the planet Earth. It says some 200 men and women are members of Washington's Temple number 4 a branch of the National Temples of Islam headed by a Detroit Negro who calls himself Elijah Muhammad. It says Lucius X. Brown, leader of the Washington Temple. It says the white man is the illegitimate son of the original Negro parents, the Muslims preach. We know the first man had to be a black man because a white man and a white woman can never produce a black baby, said Lucius X. Brown. The destiny of the black man, he declares, is to eventually take over the earth, which the white man is now laying waste to. Now, who say all of this today? All of these the Pan-Africans, the black Hebrew Israelites. But at first, it was the messenger and his followers. Yes. He says the white man is an illegitimate son of the original Negro parents. We know the first man had to be a black man, because a white man and a white woman can never produce a black baby. Well, nobody's saying that but the Muslims. Yes. So let's bring it on home. Let's talk about this religion of these people. Now we got to talk about the sons of God. Because the Bible mentions the sons of God. What does the Bible say about the sons of God? This comes from Genesis 6, verse 1 through 4. It says, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters was born unto them. Not a white man, being a smart devil. He don't say when Adam began to, he just say when men began to multiply. Why don't he say when Adam began to multiply? Because the messenger taught us. He called Adam the Adamic race. The Adamic race represents the white man. So sometimes the white man says Adam, and sometimes he says me. Because when he says men on this one, he trying to make us get back spooky. Because he calls the white man men, then he calls the black man the sons of God. Because we believe that God is a spook. God is a spirit. So he makes you believe that the sons of God was these fallen angels. When the men, or when all of the original people began to multiply on the earth, then they had daughters. It says the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. This is pretty simple and plain. But when the white man got you spooky, when the white man got you believing in a mystery God, this don't sound so simple and plain. Because if we had our original mind, we would know that the sons of God is talking about the black man. Right. Because the messenger said, we are a direct descendant from the first God. When you say sons of God, you talking about his descendants. Yes. And if the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and had children with them, and took them as wives, then the sons of God must be human beings too. Right. But when you a spook worship, it ain't that simple and plain. So it says in the Bible, it says, and it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters was born unto them. The sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose. It says there were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them, the same became mighty men, which were of old, men of renown. So we see that these people was regular human beings like you and me. The messenger taught us this was the first race mix. Yes. When Adam was in the garden, that was the first case of race mix. But they don't explain it like that in the story. So let's go to the message. What did he say about the sons of God? This comes from the December 30th, 1966, Muhammad Speaks. The messenger says the original God was black, and the people that we see today that are originally black people are the children of the first God who created everything but the devil. Therefore, the children of the divine creator are also gods. But due to allowing the enemy of God to rule for the past 6,000 years, the original sons of God slept. That's what we got to understand about Islam. Because the righteousness of Allah is everlasting. It's ageless. You can't put a date on it. You can't put a beginning or an end. It goes from everlasting to the past. It goes to everlasting in the future, and it's in the present. So whatever God's righteousness was, it was always like that. If God told Moses not to eat hog, then the sons of God couldn't eat hog.
Right.
Adam couldn't eat hog. The people of Nineveh couldn't eat hog. Because the people of Nineveh was not Israelites. That's another example that we can use to show how dumb bus stopping them is. The reason why Jonah didn't want to go to Nineveh, because the people of Nineveh was their enemies. Nineveh was the enemy to the Israelites. But God still told Jonah to go to them. Because God, Allah, is the most merciful.
Yes.
So when Jonah went to the people of Nineveh, they accepted Allah. So what was the rules and the guidelines that Allah gave them on how to serve and obey him? He had to tell them something. Because the people weren't there before Jonah. So when Jonah came, what did he teach them? What kind of rules did he give? What kind of guide did he give? What did he tell him? This is how Allah wants you to serve and obey him. They don't tell us that. Because the messenger said, the white man is careful not to mention the religion of the prophets. All the prophets had a religion. If it was wrong to eat hog with Abraham, it was wrong from Adam all the way up to today. Because God's righteousness is everlasting.
Yes, sir.
Now let's go on even further than that. Let's talk about birthdays. Because I recently read this, and this was something that I was like, wow. I never really knew or read from the messenger why he said we don't celebrate birthdays. But this comes from Sister Baina Sharif in the April 19th, 1968, Muhammad Speaks. She says the Honorable Elijah Muhammad instructs us that we should not celebrate the days of our birth. For we are the original man who has no birth record. Islam is the natural religion of the black man. We are links in a continuous chain. I was like, wow. Makes perfect sense. But the thing I like about the message, he didn't crush brothers like people try to crush you today. Even though he taught that, you still had people who were sending the messenger birthday gifts, birthday cards, birthday letters. So the messenger didn't just crush them. He let them down easy. So this is in the October 20th, 1972, Muhammad Speaks. He says, although the Honorable Elijah Muhammad does not worship birthdays, he thanks you for your good words sent in cards, telegrams, and letters. Messenger Muhammad teaches us that we do not worship birthdays because we have no birth record. There was no beginning of us, and there will be no end. That was the message. The black man have no, whether we talking about the black man as a whole as us as individuals, we are connected to a continuous chain. That's how we got to see it.
Yeah.
We ain't just an individual. We connected to a chain. At the beginning of our chain is God, the first God, the creator of the heavens and the earth. And that chain is an everlasting chain. Just like his righteousness is an everlasting righteousness.
Yes.
It don't start with Israelites and Jews. Allah's righteousness is an everlasting righteousness.
Yes.
So it goes on to say, it says the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the white man's time to rule the black man is limited. And that at the end of his time, the God of freedom, justice, and equality, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, would come and the white man's power of unequaled justice would be broken, and he would be destroyed. This God has come and is present. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, we can see that the white man's power is disintegrating daily. His unstable dollar, his lack of gold, his unstable government, and the confusion of his people. Therefore, knowing that his time is limited, he thus celebrates the achievements of completing a year every time he does something. We got to remember that.
Yes.
That's why you have all these New Year's celebrations. Every time the white man makes it another year, he celebrates.
Right.
Messenger said the white man's world was up in 1914.
Yes.
We get drunk and party with the white man not knowing what's going on. Like Prince said, we gonna party like it's 1999.
Right.
That's how we think. But we don't know there is no 1999 for us. Because in the day, when I was growing up, everybody believed that the year 2000 it was going to be the end. So in the 80s, Prince made the song, we going to party on New Year's. Like it's 1999. Like it's the end. He don't know how true what he was saying was. The white man parties like it's 1999 since 1914. Praise to Allah. The messenger said that's why they have a Sabbath. A Sabbath day is to remind the Jews of his destruction. A Sabbath day, they say they ain't supposed to work on the Sabbath. They ain't supposed to buy and sell. The messenger said that day for the Jew is holy unto God. But in Islam, there is no special day. Every day is special unto God.
Yes.
Whatever we can do Monday, we can do Tuesday. Whatever we can do Tuesday, we can do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But the white man, he got a special day. He do all the filth and indecency he can do for 6 days. But on the 7th day, he gonna rest from all his labor. Messengers say rest means death. He gonna rest. That 7th day, the white man say is holy unto God. What day is that? That's the 7,000th year.
That's right.
The white man's history don't go past 6,000 years. So God told him, you got 6 days to do all your work. But in the Bible, it's symbolic. Niggas like Bus Stop got it wrong. The black man don't have a Sabbath day. There is no doom for the black man. Every day is a day unto Allah.
Yes.
But the white man, he got a party like it's 1999 every year. Well, brothers and sisters, we don't want to prolong the time. So I leave you as I came in the nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Brothers and sisters, we rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, Soul Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live. The alone do we serve, and the alone seeks for thine help and aid. O Allah, please guide us on the right path. Path of those upon whom thou spill thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness that none is to be served, worship, or praised besides Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, thy true servant and last apostle. Ameen. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us not to do anything to anyone that we wouldn't have done it to ourselves and treat everybody right, even the devil. Assalamu alaikum.